curious. Every time a new generative video tool hits the timeline, we see a heavy machine dropping directly onto the Hollywood soundstage. The immediate panicked assumption is that these algorithms are coming to erase the human performer entirely. The actual economic pressure focuses on which specific parts of the craft are currently being automated. Studio logistics now slice acting into individual tasks to find exactly which ones an algorithm can execute at a lower cost. The most vulnerable tasks are the ones that require scale without individuality. Production teams are already using software to generate digital background performers, where a single extra instantly duplicates to fill out massive crowd scenes. We see the same math applied to audio tasks. Software can clone a vocal tone to patch missing lines or handle basic commercial voiceovers, cutting directly into the need for automated dialogue replacement, or ADR, which is the process of re-recording lines in a studio for better sound quality. Hiring, feeding, and managing dozens of people for a disposable background-level task is expensive. When a brand needs a fast social media clip or a director needs a crowd to walk out of focus, they prioritize the logistics of the budget. If a role requires nothing more than a generic visual or a baseline vocal cadence, paying a human day rate becomes an economically indefensible choice for a studio. If generic labor is so easily automated, the question shifts to what it takes to build a usable on-screen performance using only code. Building a digital performance requires locking on to wireframe grids and timing nodes, mathematical anchors ensuring facial consistency across every shot. The software executes these coordinates with total precision, outputting a mathematically perfectly symmetrical version of a recognizable, concerned face. For a quick social media ad, that output is passable. But the longer a viewer watches that calculated expression, a faint, eerie detachment sets in. Achieving a technically accurate, consistent human face is a distinct computational problem, and it has very little to do with the challenge of creating a memorable human performance. That flawless 3D model lacks an inner life. It cannot actively listen to a scene partner or adjust its temperature based on a spontaneous choice made on set. Generative models function by pattern matching massive datasets of past imagery. They provide the statistical average of a reaction, rather than experiencing a real, live environment. Memorable acting relies on friction, the unpredictability and organic resistance that happens when a real person navigates an emotion. On a camera monitor, that friction manifests as a mistake, an unplanned pause, a stuttered breath, or an asymmetrical smile that breaks the code's predictability. Lacking that friction, machines are relegated to highly contained utilities, avatars for cheap filler content, digital doubles for dangerous shots, and voice clones for audio patches. Algorithms simulate the neat, predictable shell of a character, while leaving the unstable, completely human center out of the equation. The viewer's brain seeks emotional meaning and trust, a human connection that weighs far more heavily than technical facial accuracy. Audiences instinctively reject a performance if the emotion feels hollow, especially if a real actor's likeness was used without their clear consent. The logistical future of the movie set centers on a hybrid model, where the human performer remains the anchor for the story's emotional truth. In this workflow, real actors deliver the core of the scene, while AI operates on the periphery, cleaning up lighting, fixing continuity, and mapping out complex digital stunts. When the market is flooded with mathematically polished, inexpensive synthetic content, genuine human presence becomes scarce. That scarcity makes authentic, lived-in performances feel significantly more premium. For creatives navigating this environment, the clearest defensive strategy is to avoid generic, interchangeable performance styles at all costs. Machines struggle to cleanly replicate idiosyncratic traits. Unusual comedic timing, a unique physicality, and a distinctive vocal identity are the hardest variables for an algorithm to copy. Guarding those traits means treating data as property. Securing explicit consent for voice and likeness rights in every contract is now a required survival skill. Repetitive, low-stakes labor will continue to be automated. The performers who hold their value will be the ones who remain distinctly, stubbornly, and gloriously human.